Hey there, welcome back to the Meat Thinker channel. I had to take a week off to upload this video thanks to the derecho storms that struck Houston and surrounding areas. A lot of fallen trees and power lines caused the whole family to be without power for 5 days. A lot had happened until I was able to get the house in order before I could work on this video. Thankfully, I didn't suffer any damages to the house and life is back on track. So my first cook on my Brazos was pork spare ribs, and I'm about to share with you the whole process. So let's get to it. I picked up a package of St. Louis spare ribs from Costco. I thought ribs would be a great choice for my first cook because I get to figure out how to use this smoker on while I'm cooking the ribs. Plus, it will be a much shorter cook than pork shoulders or brisket, which I should be able to finish in 4 to 5 hours. As usual, let's start off with the seasoning. I'm going with my go-to kosher salt and ground black pepper combination. 1 part kosher salt and 2 parts coarse ground black pepper. Mix it well and put it in a shaker. Costco puts in 3 racks of ribs in each package with the membranes removed from the bone side. I'm going to trim up these ribs by removing some of the flappy meat and fat so it doesn't burn up during the cook. Since I'm not in a competition, I won't make it a priority to make it look pretty. Just trimming them enough to cook them uniformly without burn ends. Now take the salt and pepper mix and coat the backside first. Make sure to cover around the edges as well. I prefer going heavy on the pepper and I don't have to worry about over salting it thanks to my 2-to-1 mix ratio. The racks of ribs are ready to go and I have the smoker temperature at about 275. From my last video, I kept the baffle off and going with the extended stack. So the 275 temperature is at the stack side, not the firebox side. I had 3 probes going when I started the fire and I'll need to remove the middle one to make room for the ribs. One dumb mistake, I tried to remove the probe with my bare hand without thinking and burn my fingers as a result. Lessons learned, make sure you wear gloves when handling anything inside the cook chamber. I was planning on placing the ribs parallel to the cook chamber while the thick side is facing the firebox, and realized I did not have enough surface area on the grate. So I ended up moving the probe and went perpendicular to the cook chamber. I figured these ribs will finish at different times because of the placement, but I will figure this out when I get close to wrapping. I added small splits to the firebox to keep the temperatures within 250 and 285. 3 hours in, all 3 racks had nice brown color and it looks pretty good. As expected, the first rack closest to the firebox was ready first. It was reading over 180, so I'm going to take this one out and bring it inside to wrap. Nice brown color, fat rendering down from the surface, the meat contracting to expose the bones. Oh boy, it smells delicious. Before wrapping this rack, I'm going to add 3 cubes of butter and a small pour of maple syrup to sweeten things up. This would finish very nicely to go without any barbecue sauce. Put the meat side down and wrap it. It is now ready to go back into the smoker. I'm going to shift the other 2 racks closer to the firebox and put the wrapped ribs on the left side to finish off. The fire has been running pretty good with adding small splits every 20-30 minutes, but I stepped away from the smoker for a little too long and the fire went out and the splits were smoldering. Lots of dirty smoke was coming out and I needed to get this handled soon. I sat by the firebox and started blowing on the coal bed to revive the fire. It took a few minutes, but I got it back under control. Time to wrap the second rack. Same process, cubes of butter and splash of maple syrup. Wrap it and put it back in the smoker. It has been 4.5 hours in, and the first rack of spare ribs are now ready to come out and rest for about 30 minutes. Now, the moment of truth for the first time cooked with the offset smoker. Unwrap the ribs and let's check out how it turned out. Thanks to butter and maple syrup, as you flip the meat side up, you can see the free-flowing sweetness drizzling down the meat. Can you smell that? With the finger poke test, meat is tender, but it's got some resistance to it, and it should provide nice texture when you take a bite into it. Just make this a little better, I'm going to pour the leftover juice over the ribs. I really like this view. My mouth is watering as I'm recording this voiceover. Okay, it's time to taste how it turned out. Before slicing into this, I'm going to flip this over so I know where to cut. I prefer slicing it this way because I always end up butchering up the meat when I try to go in from the meat side up. The smoke ring looks pretty awesome, very juicy meat with decent bark. I have to take a bite into this, and nice smoke flavor with just the right amount of salt and pepper and very subtle sweetness to it. I have to say I can comfortably ditch the pellet smoker for this. You can't beat the convenience of set and forget pellet smoker, but the flavor I get from this offset is well worth the time managing the fire. I have to say my first ever cook with an offset smoker was a huge success. I'm in love with this thing and I'm very excited to cook more food with this. What was your first ever cook on your first offset smoker? How did that turn out? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my Instagram handle @meatthinker. Thank you for watching and keep meat thinking.